Cameron Paul, and welcome to my studio. I'm here to tell you how to become a DJ, if you're not already one, how to get into editing, production work, overdubbing, remixing, and multi-track production. Everything you need to know to get into the music business, the record business. If you don't know who I am, I'll briefly explain what I've done. I started out as a DJ several years ago, and after being a DJ for several years, I became a remixer, and I've done remixes for several major record labels, A&M Records, CBS, the Virgin Records, to name a few. I got into production work, and I started my own record label along with my partner Haim Zion, and that record label is called Tandem Records, and we have several releases out right now. I also have a record label called Mixx-It Records, which is a subscription service for qualified DJs. This includes several special remix versions of current popular songs that usually I've done or someone else has done. And that's available for subscription only. Now, the first step to being a DJ is getting the proper equipment. The first thing you need are 2 good turntables. The best kind to use are the kind with variable speed control, or pitch control as some people call them. And that enables you to adjust the speed of your turntables to very small exact increments, not just 33 and 45 RPM. 2 turntables. Next thing you need is a good mixer. A mixer is something you plug your turntables into, and each one has a different channel. Each turntable has a different channel, so you can mix your records together from one to the other. Next thing you need is a headphone. This headphone plugs into the mixer so you can cue up your records. You can hear what the other one is playing while this one is playing out there for everyone else to hear. You can hear this privately, the other one. And you need an amp and speakers to plug your mixer into so you can hear and so can everyone else, if you're brave enough. So let's get on to actually playing a record. Now, one thing I didn't mention before that you'll need are records, of course. Every DJ needs records. But first, you have to study your records. You have to know how fast they are. You have to know where the breaks are, how long the intros are, and just know the record from forward to back. So when you play it, you know when to get in and when to get out of the record. First thing I'm going to show you is how to time the record or count the beats per minute, BPMs. You need to know this so that when you mix into other records, you can mix with records that are the same or close to the same beats per minute, or I'll be saying BPMs from now on. That's the term we DJs use. BPMs. You take your record, put the needle down on it, very good step, and you wait till it starts. Okay, this one's called Just Dance by Keisha Boom on Tandem Records, one of our records. You need a stopwatch, a good stopwatch. I've never seen a bad stopwatch. You start on one of the beats, okay? 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, and you count for 30 seconds. You count the number of beats in 30 seconds. Okay, let's do this again. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 30. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 40. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 50. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 60. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So that's 66 beats in 30 seconds. You multiply that by 2. Okay, you getting that? 2 times 30 equals 60 seconds, which is a minute. So 2 times 66 is 132 BPMs, beats per minute. So this record is 132 beats per minute. That makes it possible for you to get another record that's the same speed. You've already got it timed out in advance. You've got them all filed in numerical order from lowest BPM to highest BPM. That's how I have my records filed. Okay, in case you didn't quite follow that, I'll give you another example. This time with a record that's slower in tempo. This record was 132 BPM, which is pretty fast. But now we'll count another record which is a lot slower than that, and it'll make it easier to count also. First, let me explain to you what you're counting. Okay, we're counting the beats here. How many beats are in a minute? Okay, in case you don't know what a beat is, I'll try and explain. Dance records have downbeats and upbeats. What we're counting are both downbeats and upbeats. Okay, let's listen to this and I'll explain. Okay, let's find the downbeat, okay? There's a downbeat, okay, that was 1. Okay, so every time my hand goes down is a downbeat. Okay? Okay, now the upbeats. Okay? Every time my hand goes up is an upbeat. Okay? Now let's count them both together. Okay? Down, up, down, up. Each one of those is a beat. And those are the things we count when we're counting BPM, beats per minute. Okay, let's count this one. Okay, zero out your stopwatch. Okay, let's count it now. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 30. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 40. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Okay, 48 in 30 seconds. That's 48 beats in 30 seconds. Now we're counting beats per minute, not beats per 30 seconds. So you have to multiply that by 2. Okay, 48 times 2 is, right, 96. 96 beats per minute. Now, 96 beats per minute is a lot slower than 132 beats per minute. Now, these kind of turntables have pitch control, speed control, so you can speed it up or slow it down, besides 33 RPM or 45 RPM. But it can't speed this record up to 132 beats per minute. It just won't go that high. Okay, so what you have to do is you have to get a record that's around the same tempo, 90 beats per minute to say 100 beats per minute, so that you can mix it in. Now you can't adjust this too much because the record will start sounding too fast or too slow. It'll start sounding funny if you speed it up too much. Let's listen to that. Let's see what it sounds like when we start speeding it up or slowing it down with this pitch control. Okay? Now let's speed it up. Let's go all the way up to +8, which is a number here on the speed control. See, it starts sounding like chipmunks. Doesn't sound too good. And if you slow it way down,
but I'm still alone. I pray to God for the words to say to let you see, baby, please come back.
Sounds like he's feeling pretty good. So let's go back up to normal, okay? Now it sounds okay. So we can speed it up a little, slow it down a little. to match another record's tempo, okay? And it won't affect the sound too much. Let's go plus 2%.
Don't you know that I won't relate or swim the sea? Go to nuts, my title as a fresh MC. I sell my
So you really can't tell much of a difference. Okay, let's put it back to normal. You always want to play a record around the tempo it's supposed to be played, so it'll sound pretty normal. Now, why don't we mix a record in to this record? Okay, I've got a record here that's close to the tempo. I've counted it out already. Okay, it's 92 beats per minute. Okay, remember this is 96 beats per minute. So, you know what I have to do to this record on this turntable? I have to speed it up a little. Okay, now we don't know exactly how much, but I'll explain how you determine how much you speed up the other record. Okay, this is where the headphone comes in. Now you have to have a headphone because you have to hear what your other record is doing over here on the turntable without everyone else hearing it. So you've got this record playing, okay? And you want to hear this record. So what you do, you put your mixer into the cue position. Now a lot of mixers have different knobs and buttons and switches. One of those words means your headphone. So that when you put down the needle on this record and you've got this playing, you can hear what's going on this turntable without anyone else hearing it. This record is playing now, but I'm listening to this record, okay? So here, I'll show you. This record is playing over here. I'm not going to mix now. I'm just going to show you that both are playing, but you can only hear this one. Now we'll go over to this one. You see? Now back to this record. Okay, I'm sliding this over. Now this one. Now this one. So right now I'm listening to this in the headphone. Okay, now what I want to do is I want to cue this record up to the point where I want to start mixing it. Okay, now I'm listening to this record in the headphone here. Put the needle down to the place I want it to go. Now I'll just turn this up slightly so you can hear what I'm hearing in my headphone. That's where I want to start. This is called cueing the record. Okay, I've got the needle right where I want it. I'm holding the record. Now what enables me to hold the record like this without hurting the record and the turntable still moving is this pad right here. Okay, you can buy these almost anywhere. They're sometimes called scratch pads or static pads, but they enable the record to stay in one place with the platter still turning. Okay, let's put this down again. I'm cueing up the record now. Okay. Now let's put this up. Okay, now what I want to do now is I want to match the beats of this record to the beats of that record. Now remember I said this was 92 beats per minute. This is 96. So I cannot play this at the normal speed. I've got to speed it up a little in order to match these beats. Okay? So what I'm doing now is matching the beats in my headphone. Matching the downbeat to the upbeat. Now this is what I'm hearing in my headphone. Okay? And this is what's playing. Okay? So an important part of mixing is finding the proper place to mix in a record. Okay, you don't want to mix in a record over somebody singing or rapping, or you want to mix it into a place where it'll fit. So let's move the needle over to a proper place to mix.
Sorry.
Okay, I'm going to find a nice breakdown. A breakdown is just drums, percussion, no vocals, no music. It enables the mix to sound good, so that it doesn't compete with vocals and other things that might be on the record. So let's take this. Okay, here's a breakdown right at the end of the record. Okay, now I'm gonna match the beat here.
She's gone, reminiscing to the real chill night when I was rocking your body like rocking the mic. So now better is the move.
I matched the beats.
There's nothing I can do to make it up. My girl is gone, gone,
That was a mix from this one to that one. And to the ear, hopefully, there wasn't that much of a noticeable change. What I had to do was listen to this in my headphone while this was playing. I had to adjust this pitch control or speed control on this turntable so that the beats, the downbeats and the upbeats would match the downbeats and the upbeats of this record. Then I had to adjust the levels on my mixer so that I'd turn one record up while the other record was going down. Okay? Now let's review this. You count the beats per minute. You have all the records counted in advance. You start playing your record. You cue up your other record through the headphone. You match the beats, okay, with your pitch control. Then you wait for a proper place to mix. The breakdown is the best place. And then you mix in your record. And it's as simple as that. It takes a lot of practice. But if you practice long and hard, you'll get it right. Just keep experimenting with it. And remember, don't ever try and mix something in that's way too fast for the record you've already got on, because it won't work and it'll sound funny. So just try it. You'll like it. Okay, so we've covered basic mixing, and if you study this segment of the tape over and over again and practice hard, you'll get it right. And don't get frustrated if you don't get it at first. It's going to take a while, and I'm still learning, and I've been doing it for years. So let's try a little mixing now. Okay, I'll give you a few examples of what mixing is all about. Now this is more advanced mixing, and you'll be able to do this with enough practice. I'm going to give myself a little challenge here. I'm going to mix from 114 BPM and try and get myself up to 132 BPM without too much of a noticeable change. Okay, I've got a record here that's 114 BPM. Got a record here that's 118. Now we don't have time for me to play the whole song, so what I'm going to do is I'm just going to play little segments and try and mix in to good points. Okay. Okay, I've got this record playing now. It's 114 BPM. I'm going to speed it up a little to 2. Okay, this record's 118. So I've got this record sped up a little. I'm going to slow this one down a little. Okay, now I'm into this record. Now I'm going to speed this up a little, very slowly. Because remember, I've got to get my tempo up. Take this record off. Cue up a new record. Move my headphone level to this side. I have to slow this record down a little. I'm matching the beats, slowing it down or speeding it up with the pitch control and my finger. Okay, now I go back to the beginning. Okay, I'll wait for a good place to mix. All the while, I'm riding it with the pitch control to keep it on beat. Okay, now start speeding this one up. I'm trying to raise the tempo here. Take my next record. So far, I've gone up from 114 BPM to 124. This record is now 124. Now I'm going to get up to 128. I have to slow this one down or speed this one up, which I'll do too. Okay, I'll turn it down a little so you can hear me. Can you hear me? Yeah, okay. Okay, I've matched the beats from this to that. Put it back to the beginning. Okay. Okay. I've gone to 128 BPM. Actually, it's a little slower than that because I've got this record slowed down. Let's speed it up a little. Let's go to 130 BPM. I'm listening to this record. Okay, I've got them matched now. I'm waiting for a good place. All right, here we go. Okay, speed this one up. Now we're at 130 BPM. And then finally, we'll get to 132. Okay, I've matched the beats. Now it doesn't take me a long time to match the beats because I've been doing it for years and I can get right on the beat. So don't expect it to be real quick at first. It'll take some practice. Okay, speed it up. I've gone from 114 BPM to 132 BPM without a real noticeable change. But that's very important to do when you're playing in a nightclub. it's very important to be able to build your tempo. You don't want to stay at one tempo all night long because there are a lot of records and they range from tempo from 90 BPM to 140 BPM and even higher and lower. So now I'm going to give you an example without explaining, and I'm going to show you some advanced mixing techniques.
Yeah, the rhythm. Don't even try. Don't even try. The rhythm. Don't even try. Don't even try. Yeah, the rhythm. Don't even try. What's gonna buy it? Yeah, the rhythm.
Now, many years of practice, you'll be able to mix like that. So keep trying, and you'll reach that point. Another trick, which I created, I call stop mixing, which is very effective in the club, and it sounds great. Now, in order to do that, you need 2 records, same record, okay? And you need to play them at the same time. Now, to demonstrate what I mean by stop mixing, what I do is I actually stop one of the records that's playing on an upbeat, and it gives it a stop sound, like a slow down stop sound. I'll show you what I mean.
Don't even try it. What's gonna buy it?
Okay.
Still busy. I can be this.
Now you hear that sound? That's the sound I'm going after. But it's got to be while the other record's playing also. I'll do that again.
I can be the same. I can be the same.
Well, it's not supposed to skip, but
I can be the same.
you see that sound?
I can be the
And the way I do it, I just press stop at the point I want it. Okay, now I'll incorporate that using the other record. Okay, we start that. Now we have to get them playing at the same time.
I knew he was your best friend. I thought you'd want me to make him feel at home.
Don't even try it. What's gonna buy it? busy. I can be this.
Okay, now listen for that sound and watch what I do.
I can be this. I can be this.
Okay? Now I got to get this record back up to the speed of that one. Okay? So I go back and forth to this record when I want it to stop and make that sound, and I go right back to that record to continue the beat. So it doesn't sound like I'm doing anything. It sounds like it's on the record. That's called stop mixing. Now another trick is called backspinning, and I don't mean jumping up in the air and doing flips. I mean playing the record backwards with the motor off on the turntable, with your finger turning it backwards while mixing it into another song. Now this is very complex and very hard to do, and it's going to take a lot of practice. But one trick I'll tell you in doing this right is on a quartz lock turntable, which these are, it'll lock the speed on, if you've got it right on the 33 or the 45, and right in the middle here, it will lock the speed exactly on 33 or 45 RPM. That's what you want to do when you're playing a record backwards, because there's a light that shines right on the edge of the turntable that shows when you're exactly at that speed. What you want to do when you're turning the record backwards is you want to watch that light there, it's called a strobe, and make sure you're right at that speed of 33 or 45, whichever the record is. Okay, I'll demonstrate that now. You leave the motor off. Right now, that light is right on 33. There's no variation in speed. It's exactly at the speed I want it to be. Now here comes the hard part. Mixing it in to another record. Okay? It's a very difficult trick, but with a lot of practice, and I mean a lot of practice, you'll be able to do it. That's backspinning. All right, now that you're an expert DJ, well, seriously, after you've worked on all those techniques a while, you will become an expert DJ. And now what I'm going to talk about is club mixing or even mobile DJing. Because once you've got the skills down, you'll want to play for the public. Now, there are a lot of things you have to know about playing in clubs or playing for a party or whatever. You have to know how to build your dance floor and play the right kind of music, and know when you're playing too loud, know when your crowd is getting tired. There's really a psychology to the dance floor to get into sync with your dancers. You want to start out just by getting them out there. You might want to start out by playing some very familiar songs just to get them going. Once you've got them going and it gets later on in the night, then you can start working in some newer music, but do it very carefully, otherwise you're going to lose your floor. What you might like to do is play a hit, then play something new, then play a hit, then play something new. That way your audience always hears something they recognize, and once they're out on the floor, hopefully you're good enough to keep them out there. After you've been playing for a while for a crowd, you'll get to know how they feel, and you'll feel the energy that they have, and you'll know when they start to burn out. And when they do, that's when you have to start changing the style of music you're playing. If you play at 132 BPM all night, you're going to just burn out your crowd real fast. You have to learn how to build the tempo up and then build it down so that your crowd will rise and fall with the energy and the music you're playing. It takes some practice and it takes some experience playing for people, but if you do it enough, you'll get right in touch with your crowd. And that's really the basics of dance floor psychology, which I call it. Okay, now we're going to move on to some basic editing techniques. Now, editing is a way of splicing recording tape together to make songs sound differently. It's very valuable in post-production of records. It's good to use if you want to play a new version of a song in your club or at a dance, or as long as you have something to play it on. And I'm going to show you how to edit. Now, the first things you need to edit are an editing block. It's a long strip of metal with a groove in the middle to put the tape into while you're cutting it. It also has grooves in it so that it guides your razor blade along where you want to cut the tape. So you need a razor blade, single edge, because double edge could be very painful. And you need a grease pencil to mark the tape on your machine. Another thing you need is editing tape. Okay, you can get several kinds of different editing tape. Many electronic stores carry editing tape. And you need a tape deck. Now, I use a 2-track tape deck. 2-track is a professional format. You can also use what's called a 1/4-track tape deck. Just make sure you can edit on it, and if you're going to buy one, you just ask your dealer if you can edit on it, and they'll tell you if they're honest. And this one has a little switch you push up so that you can put the tape up to the head, the record head, so that you can mark it with your grease pencil. Okay, well, let's do some editing. Okay, I picked a record here, and first I'm going to set my levels. Okay, meaning I don't want to record it too loud, otherwise I'll get a lot of distorted sound. So what I want to do is I want to just have the VU levels. These are called VU meters, and these tell me how loud I'm recording. I don't want it to go too much into the red. Occasionally in the red is okay, but not too much, otherwise the sound will be very distorted. Okay, so let's see. What you want to do is you want to go into the loudest part of the song to set your levels. Okay, that's a good level right here. Okay, now take it back to the beginning of the record. Start the recorder, press 0 so I know where to go back to. Okay, levels are fine. Okay, now let me go back to where I want to edit in. Okay. Okay, that beat right there is where I want something new to come in. So I move the tape back and forth. I can hear it. Okay, right there. That's when that switch comes in handy, because it moves the tape up to the head so I can hear it when I'm moving the tape back and forth. Okay, I want to change on that beat. So I have to mark right on the head, or actually on the tape. The tape is on the head. Okay, I mark right before that beat. Put a nice white mark on there. Now I move that I move that up a little so I don't record over that spot. I change my record. Okay, now I want that one to come in. I gotta set my levels again. Make sure it's not too loud. Okay. Okay, now I start recording. Okay. Now I've got that. I take it out of record so I can hear the playback. Okay. Now this is where I want it to come in. Right here. Right there. Okay, I've got it marked already. Okay. Now that's the first beat of the second record. You hear that? Okay. Now I'm going to mark that. Okay. Now, I take the tape off the heads like this. I lay it in the splicing block. Now I have the mark from the second record right here, and I slice it. I cut it. Now I've got to find the mark from the first place, from the first song. And there it is. Now you lay that down in the groove on the editing block, and you cut that on the mark. Okay? And this piece of tape is very important. You want to be very careful with this piece of tape. Okay. Now you take a piece of editing tape, which is, I use these kind, but there are many kinds, and it's sticky on one side. And you place the two ends together of the pieces you just cut. You put that tape over it, press it into place. Okay, it just comes off like that. And now they're together. It's like one piece of tape. Put it back, you thread it back through. Let's rewind it and see if we can tell. And that's where the edit is. Let's hear that again. And actually, you'll be able to see the edit tape go by the record head right where the edit comes in. And there was no change in tempo. It wasn't abrupt. It was very smooth. And the possibilities with editing are endless. You can do all kinds of tricks. You can do multiple edits. There are very advanced applications for editing, and there are many, many things you can do with it. Another trick you can do in editing is occasionally turn a piece of tape around so it plays backwards. I'll show you what I mean by that. Okay, got my record here. Set the levels. Let me check a very loud part here. Okay. Put it to the beginning. Okay, start it. Okay, Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to take some pieces out and turn them around so they play backwards. Get to the beginning here. First I'm going to mark the pieces I'm going to take out and turn around. Ah, here we go. Okay, I'm going to take that beat out, just one beat. Go to the next beat and mark that. Take that one out and turn it around, mark that, and mark the next beat. See, I'm marking little segments that I'm going to take out and turn around. And that segment. These segments are one beat in length. And that one. So I think I've marked 4 segments. Okay, I'm going to go back to the beginning. Okay, there's the first one. Take the tape out, find the marks. Okay, this is the mark of the first segment. See, and you can see that segment right there. That's one beat. Okay, taking that out, cutting it, cutting the other line, taking the segment out now, and actually turning it around. Putting the 2 pieces together now and taping them together, splicing them together. Now I'm going to splice the other sides together. Now I won't do all of them, I just wanted to show you the points where you might want to do it, but you'll get an idea of what it sounds like with just one done. Okay, back to the beginning, and this is what that sounds like. See, it's a very interesting effect. And with that going throughout the whole song or throughout different sections of the song, it's very interesting. And if you want to take a song and change it around, you may take a piece out here, put it here, take another piece and just rearrange it. But remember, the flow of the song always has to continue. It can never sound abrupt. You can't change the beat in the middle of the song. You really have to have a feel for the song and never lose the intensity or the flow. Okay, now that we've covered the editing techniques, now let me give you an overview of some production equipment and what it takes to actually make a record, do remixes, do overdubs, and all those good things. I'll go through the equipment first and just briefly explain what it is. First here I have a drum machine. This is a very complex drum machine and it's capable of doing many things. Okay, I'll program a drum pattern in there in a little bit. This is called a sequencer. And this enables me to program a drum pattern, keyboards, samplers, whatever I have in a song, so I can play it all at one time. I don't need to. It saves a lot of tracks on a multi-track recorder. I use what's called MIDI, which stands for Musical Instrument Digital Interface, which allows me to use a sequencer and play everything at one time as long as I program it into the sequencer. There are many kinds of sequencers. There are computer sequencers, and there are sequencers like this. Down here I have a multi-channel mixing board. This is what I run everything into, the drum machine, the keyboards, whatever I use for remixing or just actual production. Over here I have various different processors. I have a little Yamaha keyboard up here. I have digital reverbs. This is a digital reverb. This down here is a digital reverb. This is a digital reverb. And all these different reverbs add echo, add flanging effects, reverb, of course. Right here, this is a vocoder. This can make my voice sound like a robot. I have a compact disc player here. This is a digital sampler, which I can sample different sounds onto, but I need a keyboard to control it. That's where MIDI comes in. Okay, now over to my other keyboards. This is a sampling keyboard. Now this I can take sounds from any source I want, from a record, from my dog, any kind of sound I want. My voice.
Cameron.
Sample it and play it back. I can also load into it on these little floppy disks actual sounds, trumpets, violins, really anything I can sample, I can play. This is a regular synthesizer. It's got several sounds preset into it by the factory. I can create my own sounds by adjusting parameters on the keyboard. It's got various different sounds. And this is another kind of synthesizer up here. There's so many different kinds of keyboards on the market. You can really get things very inexpensively these days. Now the final thing I have in here is a professional multi-track recorder. This is a 12-track recorder. There are many different formats. There's 16-track, 24-track, there's 8-track. There's 4-track cassette recorders, but those aren't considered professional. This is considered a professional multi-track recorder. This enables me to record individual parts, original parts, on separate tracks of a tape. I can record bass on one track, horns on another, synthesizer on another, vocals on one. Then when I'm finished recording all the parts, then I mix it down to where I get all the levels the way I want to the final mix. And that's basically how multi-track recording and mix down is done. So now we'll go over back to the drum machine here. And all these sounds, let me put this in here. All these sounds are samples of real drum sounds. Okay, I'm going to program in a drum pattern here. First I want a good kick, okay? That's a kick drum, okay? This is how you program a drum pattern. Okay, let's find a good snare drum now. There's a good one. Okay, now I'm going to put in the snare. Okay. All right. Okay, how about a little hi-hat? Now this has a feature where I can just touch it once and it'll repeat itself. Okay, many drum machines have that. Okay. Okay. So, as you see, you could spend all night and get a million different drum patterns on a good drum machine. And I can change this on this and get millions of sounds in here. Let me give you an example now of basic overdubbing, what I would do if I was remixing a song. What I've done is I've sampled a segment of record. And I've done what I call looping. Okay, originally that sample was a very short little sample of a segment of a song. I've looped it so it goes on and on and on and on, as long as I keep the key pressed. Now I've put this into memory, into this keyboard, so that when I play it, it'll go on by itself without me having to touch the key. I've also sampled some other sounds in here. No comment. Now I've stored it all into memory here so that it's sequenced and it'll play by itself when I press play.
Would you like to say something this time? No comment. No.
This is basic overdubbing.
No comment.
That's basic overdubbing. That's what I would do if I was doing a remix of a record or something. I'd do all those steps, and that would be the final product. This tape has been an overview of all the different techniques it takes to become a DJ and eventually become a remixer and a producer. Of course, I couldn't cover everything it takes in this short a time, but it gives you a basic idea of what you need to move on from step to step. Now, all the techniques will not come to you overnight. You're going to have to work hard at it and really be dedicated to what you want to do. If this is what you want to do, go for it. Work hard, and eventually you'll have a few of these on your wall too. I'm Cameron Paul. Thank you. This is Cameron Paul, and I use the Mixer phone exclusively. It sits comfortably on my shoulder and the sound quality is excellent. I can use both my hands for mixing and can hear the cue or the mix with just a slight tilt of my head. Take it from me, Cameron Paul, and use the Mixer phone.
Thank